Noon with Cameron Poitras and Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
The beginning of the second period, this team has been so good at defending its own zone, and Lazar's wide open in the slot. Are those mental, physical, or a combination of both type of errors? Because this club just, at least again tonight, doesn't look anything close to what we've come to love and respect.
Yeah, everything. I think not anticipating plays, reading it, being in the right spot, and even if you are, it's playing too slow and just kind of slugging back up the ice and waiting for someone else to do something, and that's kind of the mindset I felt we had tonight. We didn't really dictate the play and want the puck. That's the biggest thing. You got to want to be a difference maker every single night, and it's we got to find a way to do that and bring guys up to speed. And we need everybody to be a leader out here. You don't need to wear a letter. You got to do what you do and make an impact. If you're not making a positive impact, that's probably going the other way. So we got to find a way to push each other.
That's Kyle Connor during the post-game show after Saturday's 6-2 debacle against the Edmonton Oilers. Cam Poitras, Jim Toth. Very, very good words there from Kyle Connor. You can sense the frustration there. But the phone lines are open, 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868. The phone line is open. The text line is open. Win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method. Jets at Noon brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. We'll announce the winner later in the program, which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta, bringing the team to Boston Pizza. It's moments like this, Jim Toth, where we open up the phone lines. We want to hear from you, the listener, because there are no real direct, honest to goodness fixes here or answers, and we want to hear from you. And what you think about what's going on with the Winnipeg Jets, because I think many people right now are at a loss for words, including, I think, the Jets organization, the coaching staff, the players. It's if you're a fan that's at a loss for words and has an idea or two, I don't think you're alone.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I said this I was fortunate to be on the broadcast with Kelly Moore in the pre and the post intermissions, and Kelly and I had a great discussion in the post game after those comments from Kyle Connor and head coach Scott O'Neill. And I said then, I've never seen this before. I've never seen a team regress so much into a system that has worked so well for them over the course of an offseason. And I know there's faces that have been changed, but not in the core. And when people say, well, they're too slow and they're too old, I don't buy that, because if you look at the ice times, the same players that won 2 Jennings trophies are the ones getting the most ice time. Mm-hmm. There's not a new face in this lineup other than perhaps Jonathan Toews that would alter how you defend. And the middle is wide open. Moses didn't part the seas as much as the middle of the ice has been against the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Or this season. So those comments from Kyle Connor. Here's the one thing I think, if you're looking for a silver lining, is I don't hear a lot of BS from the players and the coach. Those comments from Kyle Connor weren't a lot of, well, we had an off night. We'll figure it out. You got to get pucks deep. We're not hearing cliches.
No, we're not.
What you just heard there, Cam, is you got to want the puck. You got to want to be a difference maker. You have to want to get up and down the ice. Those are damning comments. Those are the effort's not there.
Is this sound like, remember Paul Stastny in his second stint here when he comes out and calls out some guys?
So, and what I mean by I've never seen this before is there's regression that's going to happen. There's some new players in the lineup, but they don't look anything like they had last year defensively. Whether it's rush chances, whether it's up the middle. I mean, they got their doors blown off. They got humiliated in that first period.
Yep.
The first 3 goals were against 3 different lines. So you can't blame one line isn't working or this. And then they come out in the second, and Curtis Lazar, of all people, the 4th liner, comes down the middle of the ice unimpeded and scores a goal. So what did you just do in the intermission? And so that's why I haven't seen this so far. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot. That's the other silver lining. They still have time here to dial this in.
Miraculously.
Miraculously.
And Jim, if they win and they do get the 2 points, and the other teams ahead of them don't, they have the tiebreaker on those teams. They would move into into a playoff
thankfully,
spot.
because of the parity in the league this year, which parity is usually a bad thing for teams, but thankfully because of the parity in the league this year, they are still in this. And don't tell me that they're not. They are. But they're also 5 points out of dead last. And I don't know of a team that's won the President Trophy and then finished dead last in the league. And so, Cam, there's regression. There's not executing the system optimally throughout the game or the season and all this.
Yeah.
But you don't go from winning a Jennings Trophy to being this horrific in the bottom 5 and 6 of the league defensively without something having to be on the players.
Call the Boston Pizza Jets at Noon hotline, open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. I want to just read a quick quote here, and then we'll get. We have actually there was a practice that started at 11 o'clock. There's some news from that practice in terms of the lineup. There's also a recall. I want to get to that in just a second here, but I want to read a quote from Mikko Rantanen. Of course, this is the Winnipeg Jets' next opponent. The Stars have won their second place in the entire league, second only to the Colorado Avalanche, which means they're second in the Central Division. Here's a quote from Mikko Rantanen. They tied the game late, Jim, if I'm not mistaken, against Pittsburgh yesterday, and then ended up Mikko Rantanen provided the shootout winner in Dallas against the Penguins. Here's his quote, and I'll read it. In those moments when you might have a lot of games, the Winnipeg Jets just played 7-11. I'll start again. In those moments when you might 7 and 11 days. In those moments when you might have a lot of games, you maybe don't have your legs. You have to lean on your system and try and play good, sound defensive hockey. Rantanen said, try to limit the chances for the other team and try to capitalize when we get chances. And he said, after the game that they had in Pittsburgh, which they were able to rally and find a way to win, he says, we've got to be better in Winnipeg. That's what the Winnipeg Jets need. That's why when they're going through adversity, and it's a tight schedule for absolutely everybody. I mean, that's not an excuse at this point. Everyone's going through the same thing. But they're unable to lean on their system. They're unable to play good defensive hockey. And also, they have offensively anemic portions of their lineup right now that can't take advantage of their chances. That's why the Winnipeg Jets are where they are. Let's go to Go ahead, Jim.
Last 2 games in a row, may not be in the best line, but tied for the best line has been the 4th line with Pearson, Koepke, 2 newcomers, and Morgan Barron.
Let's go to Laird. Hey, Laird, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys. How you guys doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
Good. What's up?
I'm doing good. Hey, like everybody's stating how this is all on the players. That may or may not be, but I think the majority of the blame should be on Scott O'Neill. The games I witnessed, they come out flat right from the opening faceoff. They came out flat against Edmonton, and look what happened. And in my opinion, both the games with Buffalo, they were flat in the first period. So that's all the coach to prepare his team.
Wait a minute, Laird. Why is that on the coach when you're a 20-year-old professional hockey player to get up for a game?
Well, I don't know. Okay, well, hey, it doesn't really matter. You're a 20-year-old professional getting paid wads of money.
Yeah, that's your motivation right there. You don't need a coach to come in and fire you up.
It should be the coach to make sure his team is ready from the opening face-off. They've played pretty good in the second and third periods. Sure, way too late on Saturday. Way too late.
Laird, I think Scott O'Neill doesn't know what to do.
Well, I feel for him. Hey, I like Scott O'Neill, but it is on him to say we got to start right from the opening period. You won.
That's being said, though, I don't mean to cut you off, Laird, but I get really frustrated when you have the oldest roster in the National Hockey League and you need a coach to get you up for a game. That to me, my responsibility with my 5-year-old is getting him up and getting him ready for school because he's 5. It's not Scott O'Neill's job to look at 30-year-old hockey players and go, hey, you better be ready because the Oilers are coming.
Well, that's what I see happening in the games, like from the first period, they come out flat. Would you not agree?
I agree with you on that.
Totally.
I totally agree with you. That's what's going on, but I don't think that's on the coach. I think the coach does try to get him up. Don't get me wrong. I think he understands he's got to encourage and get him ready.
Now, Laird, I don't think the message is resonating. I think that's the issue.
I think listening to him then. Don't get me wrong. I think Scott O'Neill was a great replacement and a great coach. but he's losing the room somehow.
I think they're listening to him. I 100% think they believe wholeheartedly in Scott Arniel. And they're watching the video, they're going over, they're listening to what the coaching staff is preparing for them. But when the rubber is hitting the road, and this is on the players more so than the coaching staff, is when the rubber is hitting the road, they're just not executing. They're making simple mental mistakes that they have not made for the past 2 years. That is coming back to bite them in the butt. And does responsibility fall on Scott Arniel's shoulders? Yeah, it does. It falls on the players too as well. I just think that there's something is disjointed. Something is just not working out. And there's something being lost in the message between the coaching staff and the players. And, you know, who's that on more so? I think it's a collective, Laird. I do. Thanks so much for the call.
I appreciate what you're saying, Laird, about the starts. I appreciate what you're saying about the starts, but I look just at what Kyle Connor said post game. You got to want the puck. You got to want to get back up the ice. You got to want to blah, blah, blah. The coach is telling them that. And I don't know. Scott Arniel's not. I would assume a garbage can's been kicked, proverbially, at some point this season.
I don't think it's a coaching issue.
No,
I don't believe it's a coaching issue.
The turnovers in that first period. The idea that you get the puck and get it out of your zone and it's a dump to make a change and you don't dump it in deep, you get it to the other blue line and it's fired back in and back of your net, that's on you as a player.
Well, and I will say this too. Let's go to Leon Draisaitl's goal in the first period. Where Dylan DeMello and Neil Pionk.
That wasn't a breakaway. That was a 3-person breakaway.
They got beat so bad at the red line. Leon Draisaitl was already at the blue line by the time that puck came. He blew right by Neil Pionk and Dylan Samberg. The best, you know.
But there were 2 other Oilers behind them as well.
I know that.
So he's on a breakaway with a police escort to the net.
So, like, there has to be some accountability to the guys on the ice to execute. They know that they got blown by. That was on those 2 guys 100%. That's not Scott Arniel, right? And so let's go back to the phone. Let's get Rob on. Hey, Rob.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, Rob.
Thanks.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. This might be just me thinking, but I know Eric Comrie's been standing on his head. He's been excellent, but it just seems that the guys play better when Hellebuck's in the net. Like, I may be wrong about this, but this is the way I'm looking at it. Like, when Hellebuck's in the net, they're doing what they need to do, but when anyone else, they're okay, but they're just not the same.
Well, I think if you ask the players, I think that they would disagree with that because it's a tough one to answer. It's a tough one to answer, Rob. I mean, because looking at how they played in front of Eric Comrie since Connor Hellebuck has gone down, I can't say that what you're saying is wrong. But I also think if Connor Hellebuck was in the net right now, I don't think it'd be making too much of a difference. Maybe he'd save 1 or 2 of them. But they listen, if Hellebuck was in the net, they would have still got their asses kicked on Saturday by the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. If Connor Hellebuck was in net, they still would have got.
It's just like Colorado. When they got their butts kicked by the Colorado Avalanche, it didn't matter. Despite, and I've gone over this so many times, despite Connor Hellebuck's numbers actually being above when you go into the deep analytics during that series against Colorado, despite him playing above his average play, which is outstanding even at average, he couldn't help the way that the team played in front of him. Completely collapsed on him. And I don't think it would have made too much of a difference at all.
To me, it's team defending and the turnovers, and it's ridiculous. The amount they are doing and the lack of effectiveness and execution of defending. And they don't take care of the puck at all this year.
Yeah.
At all. Like the last time they won or they went to shootout in Montreal, you said it. They got a point in that game. They had 26 turnovers in that game.
Well, totally, yeah.
How do you expect to win a hockey game that way, regardless of who's in net?
Rob, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
You take care. Thanks so much for calling. 204-780-6868, 204-780-6868.
I mean, have you seen this before? A team with its core intact that played a system so well for 2+ seasons, and all of a sudden just.
I've seen it, but here's the thing, Jim.
It's not just regression to me; it is gone.
I've seen the team play like this before, though.
Well, that we've seen, yeah.
Yeah, I saw them go all season finding success, and then St. Louis, the games in St. Louis last year. This is how the Jets played. They played just like this last year in St. Louis.
Now there's another team, and the other team has tape, and I get this.
I get it, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I didn't think they'd win a third Jennings Trophy this year.
Well, neither did I.
I just didn't think they'd be in the 26th, 27th percentage of defending.
Yeah. This core, when they start to fall into
like a regression from
they struggle. Like it's just I'm at a loss for words. I think most people are lost for words.
So am I. I've never seen it. And a bad regression from a Jennings Trophy is 12th.
Yeah.
That's a bad regression. It's 13th in the league now. You went from first overall to 13th. It's not being in the bottom 26th, 27th of defending.
Let's take a break. Let's come back. On the other side, the Jets have made a recall for the Manitoba Moose. I'll tell you what that changes as well. There are some changes to the line rushes. We'll discuss that when we come back. And your phone calls. If you're on the line, don't go anywhere.
Try to have a happy Monday. Cut their doors. Try to have a nice cheeseburger.
Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Well, the Jets have recalled goaltender Adam Divicentis from the Manitoba Moose. The Jets have loaned Thomas Milic to the Moose. Jim, any thoughts on that real quick?
I just think it's nothing to Milic's fault. I think they're just giving both goalies some NHL time.
Without a doubt. That's exactly what it is. Here are the line rushes. Connor, Scheifele, Iafallo. Pearson, Nemesnikov, Perfetti, Niederreiter, Lowry, Velarde, Kepke, Barron, and Taves. Taves on the wing. Nyquist, the extra skater. Morrissey, DeMello, Sandberg, Pionk, Stanley, and Shen. Miller and Solomonson.
Interesting
are
lines.
your extra four. What do you think about Taves on the fourth line there on the wing off of center? They want to give Nemesnikov more touches of the puck.
I think it's time. Scott O'Neill said after the Buffalo game that him and Lowry were put together, and Lowry took all the defensive zone faceoffs. Taves took all the offensive zone because in the defensive zone it allows Taves to, quote, get up the ice a little quicker.
Yeah.
I think it's time. But I tell you what, the fourth line I have zero problems with lately at all. So this is kind of interesting as well. But and I have follow up top.
Well, they've done this when he needs something to go.
This is Scott O'Neill breaking up the first line, trying to spread out the scoring by moving Velarde down, but keeping the one thing that's scoring together.
We'll be right back.
And on a team that can't score, I don't have a problem with that.
If you're on the line, don't go anywhere. Your thoughts when we return.
On this side, the whole league's going through this now because of the Olympics. Everybody's having their tough part of the grind of the schedule. For me, we had talked about the first 10 minutes, that we had to be smart about how we did things. We give up we do a terrible line change on the first one. They get 3 goals in 7.5 minutes to start. We're not, both mentally and physically, we weren't ready to go. And at the end of the day, I'll take responsibility for that.
He's got to stop taking responsibility for that.
Well, I mean, it's like he feels like he's got to take some of the heat away. I understand what he's doing.
I understand what he's doing, but I appreciate Lard's call in and comment. Come on. After Buffalo, you asked me last week if Buffalo was rock bottom, and I'd say, well, it would have to be.
Well,
3 goals in 7.5 minutes to 3 different lines, all on poor decisions and turnovers.
For the Winnipeg Jets to turn this season around, I mean, and I said it wasn't going to be linear, but that had to have been rock bottom. So they put together 2 better efforts following that. I mean, it's definitely a step down. It's a step backwards, but is...
Now, the third period was okay.
Honestly, Jim...
I'm not looking for a silver lining, but
who cares?
Because they didn't have the third period like that against Buffalo.
The game was already over.
I know, but they didn't... Last time they had quote-unquote rock bottom against Buffalo, they did not have a third period like that.
Andy, welcome to the show.
Hi, how you doing, guys?
Good, Andy.
Just talking about accountability for the players. Actually, I'm happy to hear that Arneal's mixed up the lines. I think it's long overdue. I know it's searching for offense, but I also think that's a sign of holding the players accountable. Also, I'm just wondering, people are wondering, I should make a change just for the sake of making a change. And I realize making trades is very difficult in the season, but what about the waiver wire? In my opinion, Gustav Nyquist, his contract should be terminated so we can get the $3.5 million off the books. And then look at Montreal. They picked up Alex Tessier. He's looking pretty good. He was on the waiver wire, I believe. So just a change for change's sake, because if these performances continue and the players still get to play, I mean, I realize, you can't make a trade and who's coming to Winnipeg and all that, but the idea that we have to wait for their play to improve before making changes so that their play can improve doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, this is ominous, I think. There's something going on here because in my mind, and I'm agreeing on Nyquist's play this year, I would bring him back in now. And as according to today, he's not. So I wonder how
that's for a very valid reason.
I wonder how he's taking this.
Yeah, and it's not unprecedented that contracts are voided. Like, I realize it's rare, but it's not unprecedented.
Well, the problem with buying it out is it'll be on. I mean, Tessier signed as a free agent, or Tessier.
Yeah, there's a penalty to it.
So but they got to find somebody. There's got to be some way. You got put guys in the press box like Luke Shen in the press box. Great. Then you bring it back in against a really fast team like Edmonton.
Yeah, Andy, I don't see a quick fix here. Like, is there a trade? Is there a silver bullet here? Like a guy on the waiver wire? And I understand you're saying you just want to improve the team, get something going, inject some level of energy, and I totally understand where you're coming from.
Well, accountability, right?
Yeah,
accountability for the players means accountability, means a penalty if you play poorly, if it continues.
Yeah, but
they've got a tough homestand here, boys, and if they are 1-3. Even 2-2 or 0-4, heaven forbid, we are done.
Okay, Andy. Thanks for the call. I'm gonna let you go here,
too, Andy,
I'm gonna let you go here. But thanks for the call. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. Here's the thing, though. Put yourself in Scott Arniel's shoes. All this being said, and we're all in agreement with this.
Yeah,
they're 2 points out of a playoff spot.
So somehow.
So, do you sit? Like, who do you sit down? Nyquist has been benched, healthy scratch.
100%.
It's ominous to me, in my opinion, that he's not back in there, and it makes me wonder what's going on because they got their doors blown off. I understand after a win not putting him back in, but I don't know about after a loss.
I haven't seen from him any level of give a crap.
I'm with you. But again,
so if you don't care, why should we?
So this is what I'm saying. In Scott Arniel's shoes, Andy's not wrong. You got to hold some of these players accountable, but you also are 2 points out, and your job is to get in the playoffs. And so you can't start benching players that could potentially help you. Nyquist wasn't, so I get that.
Yeah.
But potentially, now here's the other problem. If you're going to bring him back into the lineup, to me, it's Koepke or Pearson, right? You're not taking them out because they're playing great right now.
Yes.
So I think it doesn't have to be as ominous as I'm maybe leaning towards. It could be as simple as the guys that I find are interchangeable are playing great and you weren't, so I'm sticking with them.
So I want to just talk about Cole Perfetti here just for 1 second here. And I don't know what's going on. I know, like, we're talking about give a crap. I mean, Cole Perfetti gives a crap. He cares a lot. Maybe he even cares a little bit too much.
He wears it too heavily. He wears it.
That's the problem. And I don't know if this conversation has been had or how it would go, but what you need from Cole Perfetti is you're Scott Arniel, I'm Scott Arniel, and I go and I say, Cole, we need you to start playing better. We're going to move you down to the fourth line. And I feel like the answer from Cole Perfetti would be, okay, well, yeah, I understand I need to play better and, I'll help the team in any other way. When really what you need is him to say, Gordon Ramsay, you need to go like, bollocks, no. Heck no, you're not moving me down. Today is the day I take that second line and we start putting the puck in the net. And I'm going to drive the bus and I'm going to get that second line scoring. Absolutely not. You are not moving me. I'm going to get this thing going. Do you think that that's coming out of Cole Perfetti's mouth? The way that he's so melancholic. I hope that if that conversation would happen which I've created in my own mind, that would be the response from Cole Perfetti.
What I want is the same pushback.
Yeah.
It's year 5. I'm going to take this by the reins. I'll show you.
Oh, that's right. That's what you want to see
against the stats.
But it's like you mentioned it. That third when he scored his third goal, it's the hands up in the air, like, oh, thank God. Oh, I thought I'd never score again. That was sort of the body language.
Yeah. Do not show me or tell me that you thought you'd never score again at this point, 5 years in. Now, this is the other thing. Perfetti's on the second line again, and this is my point of put yourself in Scott Arniel's shoes.
Yeah.
As bad as things are, you still have to figure out a way to win a hockey game tomorrow.
You still got to get
guys. You have to figure out to win another hockey game. You can't just bench everybody, do a bunch of call-ups, punish everybody, because you need these guys.
You need Cole Perfetti
to get this going.
You need him scoring.
So it's that conundrum of how do I discipline, get more out of
Yeah, we only have 23 guys on your roster.
Because we're in this, and I need to find a way to get them going.
Jets at Noon is brought to you by Wash Method Car Wash, 690 St. Anne's Road. VIP take on the text line to win a VIP car wash from my good friends at Wash Method. 204-780-6868. We'll announce the winner later in the program. Which is coming at you live from the Boston Pizza Studio for gourmet pizza and pasta. Bring the team to Boston Pizza. Brian, you're on the show. Welcome to Jets at Noon. What's up?
Are we in full malaise yet, or what?
Malaise. Well, hold on a second. Those are the sirens, man. The Germans, it's the Blitz, man. They're coming after us.
You had that ready to go.
I did, yeah. No, it's what's going on, Brian? What did you want to say?
I just got off the phone with Chipper. Jim, you, Cammy, and me are behind the bench tomorrow night.
Wow.
What do you think?
Well, I'm just so thankful that you're giving me this information now. I've been asking for it for years. And I couldn't be more proud of the opportunity that Chipper's been giving me here.
Last time I saw Mark Chipman in the press box, he walked by me and said, "Go Bears." So that's how much he listens to us, right? And I'm like, "Go Bears!" But I don't even want to talk about that either. It was an awful weekend for me yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what? They're trying to make all the moves, and you know what? Sometimes this is just the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm trying to. My point about with Scott Arniel is he's frustrated. He's all that stuff. But you can't give up, right? Like all of us can sit here and talk about it and go, this team and they're done and the season's over and blah, blah, blah. The one guy who can't is Scott Arniel and the coaching, and the other guys is the coaching staff. They're 2 points out. So the idea that you're going to bench some guys or call up some moose or tell the GM I need a trade or whatever, your job is to get this team that, let's be honest, is underperforming. I said that on the broadcast Saturday too. The record is what it is because of the way they've played. But this team is not as bad as they've played. And I'll stand on that hill, and anybody who wants to challenge me on that can. The reason everybody's pissed off and frustrated is because this team is not as bad as they're playing.
Well, that's what people care.
Yeah, but
that's
they're
why
playing
it's so frustrating.
So poorly.
That's why it's so frustrating.
Okay, I'll leave you guys with this. They're playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
Well,
hey,
I agree.
That's Shorzy.
You're absolutely right. Thanks,
you don't have
Brian.
enough guys that love to win? No, I don't have enough guys who hate to lose.
Well, that's exactly what's happening. Well,
that's Shorzy.
I think the Jets, they hate losing. I can tell you that. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. I don't know.
Now, that being said, too, like they could use something. But what and how you do it.
There's no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet right now. I don't think that is there a magic trade that could just happen right now? All of a sudden the Jets just turn things around.
Scott Arniel's
Is there a
life right
call
now.
up? You know what I mean? Like
we talked about this, the Montreal shootout point. It's not a giant step forward. Nothing's going to get fixed overnight. We all know that. It's one small step, but he's got to build on that. So then he goes into Buffalo. They have a poor start, but then they round out their game. They get a good, solid win. They build on that a bit. And then it's just 2 steps back in Edmonton. And now you got to try again. And that's his life right now.
Let's go to the phones. Get Rick on the line. Hey, Rick.
Hey, guys. Thanks for calling. I guess we all know things aren't great. I guess we're all struggling to figure out why. And I'm wondering if you'll indulge me while I cite about 3 or 4 things that sort of weave together and connect.
Okay.
One is, why was last year's team so great compared to this? And one of the things I'm noticing is last year, I bet I can name 6 guys who were working hard last year to win their next contract. The top of the line would be Ehlers, Appleton, and then if you help me here, we can name 3 or 4 others. I think Pionk was working for next year's contract through part of last year, too. So that's item 1. You can't name me a guy on this year's team who's working hard for next year's contract.
Well, Nyquist needs a contract.
Cole Perfetti needs a contract.
Cole Perfetti needs a contract. And Cole Perfetti right now is costing himself millions.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Rick, keep going. Rick, keep going.
1.
Yeah.
Item 2, we're saying it's not the coach's fault that they seem, it's not lacking spirit, lacking intellect. Are we saying they're not having enough effort? Why is that? I don't think you're saying, maybe you're saying the core guys, the Iafellos, Demelas, Netamaskis, Nemestikovs, Perfettis, Pionks, they're just not playing good enough. Well, is it because they don't want to or they're not able to? It's got to be one of the two. It ain't the coach's fault that they're not playing good. So they don't want to or they're unable to.
Okay, keep going. Rick, what's your last one?
Yeah. And, the point's been made, and I don't think we should gloss over it. This is the oldest team in the league. Okay, and it is the slowest team in the league. You can mask a lot of flaws when people are just skating faster. Last year's team was phenomenally faster with some of those young, eager, hungry guys. And we can talk about Ehlers, Appleton. What was that guy in the fourth line? He's a center who's not here anymore, who was one of the league's fastest guys. Yeah, there was another guy with a hyphenated name who was unbelievably fast as a forward.
Anderson Dolan.
Thank you. Well, there's another one, too. Fiali something.
Axel Janssen-Fjällby.
Yeah. You lose speed like that. They weren't gifted players, but you can mask a lot of problems when you just get to where you're going fast, even if it wasn't the right place initially, right? So those are some of the reasons I'm thinking of. And I guess lastly, and then I'll beg off, is, Jim, I think I heard you say you were a little bit surprised Nyquist isn't in the lineup tonight. But tell me, pray tell, who would you take out to put in for him?
Well, that's what I just said, Rick. I just said, like, the guys that are interchangeable, like Koepke and Tanner Pearson, are the guys that are playing the best right now.
Yeah, but don't you dare take them out. So who do you take out?
Well, that's what I mean. But I would...
So then don't argue that Nyquist should be in. He shouldn't be in.
I can't argue that because you need him. You need somebody to come in and start scoring.
Tell me who. Who you put? You're the coach now. Who you putting in for Nyquist? Who you putting in?
Did you hear me say that as well as when I said Nyquist should get back in? I said the only guys that you'd bring out are Pearson and Tanner Pearson and Cole Koepke, and I wouldn't do that because they're playing phenomenal.
Okay, so he does stay out. You agree Nyquist should stay out?
Well, I just wonder why... For now, you do, yeah, because Rick, be honest. Are you not looking at this guy and the potential of having no scoring and say of the guys that are here that could score, he's one of them, but he's not?
Yeah. Well, tell me how many he's scored so far this year.
More than Pearson and Koepke. He's got 6 points.
No. Well, he's got 0 goals.
Zero goals, but he's got 6 points.
Well, you add.
I'm not defending Nyquist's play, Rick. I'm saying you have a lineup here with limited options, and you need to get some scoring going on. I'm surprised after 2 healthy scratches, you don't look at a 36-year-old veteran and go, now, you've watched from the press box. Can you be better for me?
Thanks for the call, Rick. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good one.
I'm not trying to argue both sides. I'm saying I get why he's not back in, but eventually he's going to come back in, right?
Well, eventually, yeah. I don't know. I mean, if would you?
But Rick's not wrong either. Don't get me wrong. The only other options are Connor Scheifele-Iafallo, Nemestikov, Velarde, Lowry, Niederreiter, and Taves.
Somebody's got to get a goal. Someone's got to score something.
When is Nyquist coming back in?
I don't know.
Well, that was my point. I'm not trying to argue both sides. I'm just saying, like, I
don't think he hasn't come close to a solution.
No,
and
he hasn't.
I think the team has given him so much rope because of the fact he's almost had 900 games in the NHL.
But did you not think
That's why there was so much rope given to him to try and get him going. It's come to the point where I said, what are we supposed to do with this guy?
Did you not think after a loss, once he was healthy scratch, he would come back in?
No, Jim, because I've been saying for 10 games already he should be out.
So you think they're done with him?
I think at some point you'll probably see him back in the lineup, but I am not surprised that they're holding him out. I wouldn't put him back in.
Well, I'm not surprised now because Pearson and Koepke have been their 2 best players other than the top line lately.
Yeah. All right. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We got to talk. Hey, Heritage Classic.
I think Rick just used a Jedi mind trick on me. Maybe I am arguing both sides.
Let's take a break. Let's come back on the other side. Hey, Heritage Classics coming back to Winnipeg next year. We'll discuss that.
And Jim Toth on 680 CJOB.
Missed your chance. Get your thoughts on the show today. Call the Boston Pizza Jets and Noon hotline. Open 24/7, 204-780-6800. Boston Pizza coming for lunch every weekday to Boston Pizza. Get a delicious main side and ice cold drink for only $15 only at BP. The number 1 caller will be awarded a $50 gift card to Boston Pizza on Friday. Our winning text message comes from Len. Len says, my observation is that last year our defense was strong enough to hold off the opposing team, tire them out, and then the offense would take over. It is all about defense. Len, I 100% agree with you there. That it is strong defense was what led to offense. It tired them down. It was a strong forecheck. Strong defensive structure. The offense then took the games over, and that's why they were one of the biggest scoring teams, the best offense, one of the best defensive teams, and special teams played well as well throughout the year. So, I mean, yeah, it's all about defense, Len, 100%.
Yeah, defending of this team and everything up the middle and the rush chances and everything else. I mean, it's worked to a T for them for 2 to 3 years, and they're not executing enough. And then what Kyle Connor, back to how we started the show, right? You got to want to get back up the ice. You got to want.
Yeah.
The other thing Scott O'Neill said is about the 5-man units when they're on the ice. It seemed to me, as at least in that first period, there's 2 or 3 guys that know, and then there's 2 that don't, and it just seems like even the not just the team as a whole, but the 5-man units that are out at the ice one time, they don't seem in sync. There's always 1 or 2 guys that out of position or something when the others aren't, and it just something.
There's too much individualism. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it tomorrow. Hey, we had so many good text messages. We just, of course, if we're getting callers, we just are not able to get to them. I'm going to do this. I said I've done this before. I'm going to go over the text messages, and I'll bring some of the highlighted text messages that'll spark a good conversation tomorrow. While the Jets play the hottest team in the NHL, the Dallas Stars, 8-0-2 over the last 10 games. It's a road homestand here, 4-game homestand at the Winnipeg Jets are desperately needing to pull this together. Thank you very much, Jerry Fortier, for producing the show. That's it for me. Be back same time tomorrow. See ya.